Welcome to the Happiness and Success After Illinois Tech podcast with the Illinois Tech alumni. We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to be inspired from all these real-life stories of people that attended Illinois Tech, graduated, and found success. No matter your major, your background, or where you're from, success and happiness are possible, and here are the stories to prove it. Welcome everyone to this episode. My guest this week is Harshini Chellasamy. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here and connect with Illinois Tech again.
Good. Tell everyone the degree you have, when you graduated, and just start with that.
Sure. So I came into Illinois Tech as a transfer student. Before IIT, I was at Illinois Wesleyan University my freshman year. I transferred in as a sophomore, and I started pursuing my bachelor's in information technology and management. After a couple years, I really, really liked my professors, the coursework, everything just kind of fell into place for me. And I was really excited about cybersecurity. So I ended up pursuing an accelerated master's in cybersecurity on top of the IT and management degree. So I currently have my master's in cyber forensics and security, and I actually ended up pursuing cybersecurity after college as well.
What year did you graduate?
Yeah, sorry about that. I graduated in May 2021 with both of the degrees.
Mm-hmm. So now you're probably thinking too, like where everything's going with technology. You're probably so happy you did that a couple of years ago.
I really am. And it's so funny because I didn't even know what cybersecurity was for the first couple of years of college. And I just had the most fantastic mentorship from a couple of the professors at the school who really showed me the way and paved the path for me to enter the cybersecurity field. And I'll give them a quick shout out, but Dr. Maurice Dawson and Professor Ray Trigstad, they were really essential to my growth in the cybersecurity space.
I love hearing that. Like, I have a master's in teaching, so I have a teaching background, but I especially love hearing students talk about the mentors and the professors they have at Illinois Tech, because it just means it's a special school to begin with. But then to hear people saying like, this is the person who got me into this realm, or this is the person who really helped me excel. It just warms my heart, because it's so important, and those teachers probably love hearing that too. They probably don't hear it enough. So
100%. I would not be where I am today without all of my mentors and professors. They have 100% shaped me and helped me grow in so many different aspects.
Well, I love hearing that. It's awesome. So okay, so you transferred, ITM and then cybersecurity. And that is what you're doing now. Like after you graduated, you're like, I'm going to get a job in this. Did it change, or you're still in that space, the cybersecurity space?
Yes, I'm still in cybersecurity. So what happened was, while I was at Illinois Tech, I joined this organization called Women in Cybersecurity. And it had started maybe a couple of years back. I was familiar with the woman who started the organization, and she had graduated. So I just made my way in just very casually, just attending certain guest speaker events and little workshops that they had. And eventually I made it up the ranks per se and became president of the organization. And through the Women in Cybersecurity organization, they have a very big conference every year where all of these different women in cybersecurity come together in a big celebration of different diversity, equity, and inclusion topics, technical cybersecurity topics, leadership, management, all of those types of things. And there's a giant job fair. So Illinois Tech actually got me a scholarship to attend the Women in Cybersecurity conference. They paid for my housing while I was there, the flights, everything. It was really amazing. And that's where I ended up getting my first job in cybersecurity after college.
That's awesome. I love hearing you take advantage of those things. My older son, both my sons, one's a student there now, and my older son did something similar. He went to a mechanical engineering and material science engineering conference, same thing. And just the exposure and getting to know other people in the industry and other companies and seeing all what's possible was a big eye opener for him too. I'm really glad that we support that and have the resources to help students get there, because I know it's not a cheap thing to go to a conference. So it's really great to hear. I've actually done a couple events at the Women in Cybersecurity for that organization already in the last year. Yeah, so I know it well. Yeah, it's there and going strong still. So it's good to
That's so amazing to hear, because when I was leaving IIT, that was my biggest fear, that it wouldn't continue. And we put together a team, like we had like an advisory board and a brand new team come in so that, it could kind of continue and help grow the chapter within our school. And I'm really thankful to hear that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And it's just so nice if they're there to support each other, and then they get this mentorship and these other leaders that they can bounce ideas off of. And it's just great to see. So yeah, it's still there. That's awesome. So, okay, let's talk about jobs. Did you have internships when you were at Illinois Tech? And so you told me how you got your first job through the Women in Cybersecurity Conference. Did you have internships, and how did you go about getting those opportunities? Or, was it tough for you, or what was it like?
So, yeah, I think I did have internships, yes. The first internship I had was at a startup, and it was through networking. I got that internship. It was kind of not really related to IT and cybersecurity. I was doing more marketing and writing so that they could market their company to on LinkedIn and social media and through email. After that internship, I ended up working at a bank that was it's called GN Bank. It's on 47th and King. So I was taking the Green Line all the way out there like 5 times a week while I was still in school. So that was a part-time internship. And that was where I kind of got my foot in the door and started doing more cybersecurity and IT related work. I was there for about 5 months. And then it was a really, really interesting experience because that bank had just been acquired by a new company out of Africa. So it was just like really, really interesting to see how all of those things played together. And then after that internship, I believe I had just gone to the Women in Cybersecurity conference and secured an internship with Deloitte. And I was so, so excited about that because I never would have imagined that such a great firm would hire me. But now looking back, I mean, of course, it makes sense. I was very, very involved in school and all of those things. So while I did my Deloitte internship, it was during COVID, so they had cut down the internship from like 2 months to just 2 weeks. And I was so heartbroken. I was like, this is my dream internship. I can't believe this happened to me. So I just started looking for more positions, I guess. And I found this company called Conquest Cyber. They were having a remote internship. It was more than 2 weeks, it was 2 months long. And I got to know so much about cybersecurity through that internship, like more than I had learned throughout my entire like internship cycle, I guess. Um, and yeah, so Conquest Cyber, I ended up working there 2 months, and then they extended me part-time throughout the end of the year. So I had I was working part-time like during my entire IIT career pretty much.
That's a
And
lot.
then after the Deloitte internship ended, I did get a return offer, and I ended up taking my full-time job at Deloitte. I'm currently not there, so I work at a boutique consulting firm now called Capco, and they focus on serving financial services clients. So I'm really helping fulfill that cybersecurity need that banks and all these other financial institutions have.
That's so cool. It's so cool to hear all the different experiences you had, and how you think you're going to get this, and then you were disappointed about the Deloitte thing. You got the other internship, and then you ended up back there anyways. So it's good for students to hear those stories, because I think sometimes they think I'll get the internship and then I'll get an offer, and then that will just be it. And sometimes that works perfectly. And sometimes it's exactly what the company wants when they hire them for the internship. And other times it's like, well, maybe they want to hire you and you don't want to go there. And maybe there's other opportunities. And there are always other opportunities, especially for Illinois Tech grads. So it's just good to hear that it wasn't just a straight line. It almost never is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting because in the moment, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this now and let's see what happens. But now looking back on all of these experiences, it's kind of interesting. You can see how my career has really shaped, and it starts in some random area, and then all of a sudden all of these different jobs connect together, and me being where I am today, it just makes sense because of
Yeah.
all of these experiences, and I never
Yeah.
would have guessed.
No one ever can piece it together as it's happening, how it's going to happen ever. You look back and you go, oh, this, now I see how everything's connected. But when you're in it, you're just like, wait a minute, it was supposed to be 2 months, then it was 2 weeks. Now what am I doing? And it's like, I don't know, it all, if you can be patient and you can trust the process, I think it's a little bit easier. I know it's easier said than done, everything is. But especially at that age, I tell the, especially the female students in Illinois Tech, I'm like, there's so much opportunity. And especially with COVID and the pandemic and everyone being more strategic about, diversity, equity, inclusion. And it's just front and center, and should have been front and center a long time ago, but especially with COVID, it just brought it to the top. And it's like, you have all of these advantages of the school to begin with, as a graduate, getting into the school, going there, graduating. And then on top of that, you're in this diverse population that they need more of. Every company wants more of and needs more of. And you have a lot to offer. So that when I remind them of that too, they're like, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm like, you're already in a special place, but then you have this extra added advantage. Let's take advantage of it. We should be taking advantage of it more, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm really thankful that these larger companies like such as Deloitte and even Capco, they really hone in on DEI these days. So it's cool because within these companies, there's entire groups just for women or just for people of a certain race, like Asians or African Americans. So it's really cool to have that community that's built even within the organization after IIT, because Illinois Tech is so diverse as it
Yes.
is. So I kind of got spoiled because I was like meeting people from all over the world all the time.
Right.
And then going into the real world where it's maybe not so much diverse, it's really, really important to, I think for me at least, to seek a company that cares about those things.
Yeah.
So,
For sure. It's way more front and center for the companies. And you're right, all of the people they're hiring, it's like everyone's aware of it, everyone wants more of it, everyone knows how important it is. And finally, it's being instilled in all the right places. There's the ones that are really going for it are the smart ones, because that's exactly what students like you want when they go into a company. They don't, and that's what the real world looks like, and that's what the clients look like too. So they'd be silly not to embrace it. Yeah. Okay, so let's just see. Is there anything you wish you had known sooner, considering your education and career? Like, just looking back in the last couple of years, or at the end of your, right before you graduated, anything you wish you learned a little sooner?
learn a little sooner. That's a great question. I think there's things that I wish I would have done sooner.
Yeah.
So when I first transferred into Illinois Tech, I was completely off the walls. Like I had just dropped out of my old university. I took a semester off. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I was pretty sad. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but here we go. Let's try this college thing again. So I was in a bad place, I'm not gonna lie. And for the first couple of years, I was completely kind of tuned out, and I didn't really focus my attention on classes and meeting people. I was just kind of doing my own thing, exploring the city. Having fun was definitely a big piece of it too. And I really do wish that I took the time to meet my fellow students and really network with professors and mentors within those first couple of years that I was at school. I think that is the one thing that I really, really wish that I did. I mean, I did mention earlier that I had some really, really great professors that I connected with toward the end of my um, time at IIT, but if I had done that from freshman and sophomore year, I think I would have been in a much more happier place. Um, and I think that just goes back to the whole networking piece, having those people around you, not even if they're mentors or professors, but having other smart students to lean on and learn from and motivate me has been so essential to my success and growth.
I love that. You're not the first person I've talked to that has said that. They wish they would have engaged with their classmates and that the networking opportunities and earlier. I think you're right. I think like you get there and you're scared, you're nervous, you're like, can I do it? You're concentrating on the classes and the work, not necessarily all of the other things. And that's good, But if you're open to it sooner, you could have had more opportunities. You would have met more people, possibly. You definitely would have met more people, and you never know who you're going to connect to. So I tell students to, so whenever we're talking as career coaches to the students in a big group, especially at the beginning of the year, we're like, get out there and do all the things you're talking about earlier. You won't regret it, and you'll have more opportunities. I say, like, even when you get into LinkedIn, we have this LinkedIn group called Illinois Tech Career Services. I'm like, there's 1,000 people in it now. I'm like, every single person in that group is going to graduate and have a job. There's 1,000 people. I mean, obviously I think there's over 60,000 people that have graduated. I don't even know what the number is from Illinois Tech over the entire time it's been in operation. But the bottom line is everyone ends up getting a job or starting a company or becoming a manager or a leader or all of these other things. And you all have this in common. So take advantage of it, learn from it. All of these people are resources. They know things you don't know. They know people you don't know. And it's just a shame if you don't take advantage of it. And like when I was in college in the early 90s, LinkedIn didn't exist. If you wanted to network with people, you had to go to an event, give someone your business card or your resume, with a piece of paper, and then maybe they called you. They didn't even email you back then. So it's so much easier now. I always tell students, I'm like, you'd be silly not to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely so important. But looking back at myself when I was 18, 19, if career services or even if professors told me go out there and network, I'd be like, no, I'm going to do something else. I don't care. Like,
yeah.
and it's so funny because that's just like the way that I was. And then kind of when outside forces come in and say, hey, like, why don't you try this? That's when I really, really started understanding. Maybe, I mean, of course, I got a little bit more mature. I started taking life more seriously, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to graduate soon. I need to get it together and figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, so, that's what I use. I say, if you start to try to figure it out senior year, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You're going to be, you have 13 connections on LinkedIn. It's like you have to get a job. Those 13 connections are going to take a long time for you to get connected to someone else. But if you start freshman year or sophomore year, by the time you graduate, you might have a couple hundred or half, 500 or whatever, and you have a lot more opportunities and connections than you would have had you started at the last minute. So we're trying to tell them, and you're right. There's I would have been the same way as you. I would have been like, yeah, I'll do it when I feel like doing it.
Exactly.
And some of them never even heard of it and don't even know what it is yet. So we try, and that's all you can do is give the information and see what happens. But I'm also conversations like this where people are more in tune with it and figuring out there's proof that other people did it and wish they would have done it sooner and what happened from it. So that's all we can do, right? Mm-hmm. So I have one final question for you. What's the best advice you can offer college students looking for their first job or people looking to either change their career path or just help them with their careers early on?
So going back to networking and mentorship, I think that one of the best things that I did during my time at IIT was attending conferences. So I mentioned the Women in Cybersecurity conference earlier. I also had the opportunity to attend the Grace Hopper conference through ACMW. And that conference was absolutely insane. They had 20,000 people all go to Florida, and it was all women in tech. Illinois Tech provided me with a scholarship to attend. They gave me like $100 gift card just for food. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And we had the nice hotel rooms, we had a hot tub, swimming pool, and on top of all of this, these incredible companies like Google, Microsoft, IBM, all of that, they were all there, and we had the opportunity to network with leaders. I met the Chief Information Security Officer of Bank of America at this conference. Like, it was wild. And I can't even imagine going into IIT at first and thinking that I would have that opportunity. So I think just really being open to these experiences and becoming involved in these different clubs really goes a long way. Nobody had told me that. I just found myself there one day and there I was, like, securing these new jobs, and it's awesome. I think another thing that I would recommend is taking the time to meet with professors for sure and connect offline.
Yeah. It's so important. And I know people that have gotten opportunities right from the professors, and not just because they said, hey, do you have any opportunities? It's like, because you're building a relationship. You can't just ask someone for a favor that you don't know, that doesn't know you. But when you're building that relationship and they're become a mentor to you, or they're seeing you every day or in class or every week or whatever, they're getting to know you and your work ethic and what you can do, your strengths and all of that. It goes a long way. I always tell students the least you can do is just go to class every day, because at least they're going to start to know you and your face and your personality and your participation. I told my sons both the same thing. I'm like, you might not be the smartest one in the room, but at least you'll be well known for these other things, and you can contribute. Go use your strengths and contribute in the way you can contribute. That's easy for you, and then the other things will fall into place. But you have to do something. If you remain anonymous and then you want a favor one day, that's not how it works.
I mean, there was times where I wanted to have my own student org initiatives, or I needed a recommendation letter for scholarships, and I didn't have to think twice. I knew who was going to help me, and I knew exactly what they would want to say about me because we had developed that relationship. It was like almost as if we were friends versus like, oh, this is my professor, like I don't like them. Like we built a friendship, and that went such a long way.
Super smart, super smart. Okay, so if people want to learn more about you or connect with you, what do you recommend?
Oh, great question. I'm somewhat active on LinkedIn. I post about once a month, so you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. And I like to set up calls with strangers all the time. So feel free to connect with me. It's linkedin.com/in/Harshini Chella, HARSHINICHELLA. So that's where you can reach me.
I'll share the link in the notes. I really appreciate you being here. It's fun to talk to you and learn about your experiences. And I can't wait to see where your career goes. It's fun to follow students that have graduated and see what you're up to. So thanks for everything you offered today. And I know it's going to help someone.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure and honor to be back and talk with students.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the Illinois Tech Connect platform. It's the official networking site for Illinois Tech alumni. It's operated by Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association with help from Career Services. The aim of the platform is to connect our entire alumni community to provide a space for communication, networking, and other opportunities. Also, join the Illinois Tech Career Services group on LinkedIn and learn about all things career-related. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Finally, as an alum, whenever you need career guidance or advice, you're always welcome to connect to the Career Services Department, make an appointment with a career coach, and take advantage of this lifelong resource available to all alumni. We can't wait to help you, and more importantly, we can't wait to see what you do.